So our next speaker is Dan. Chaitra is going to come up here. Chaitra Vedullapalli is going to come up here, and she's going to interview Dan so we can find out more about digital demand generation, leveraging co-sell and marketplace. So now we got marketplace. Now let's get co-sell involved in there. Let's hear a little more about it. Thanks, Chaitra.
Thank you, Patty. I told all of you I will be back today because this is the leading way of doing demand generation. So I would love to have Dan come on the stage with me. And what we will do is go deep dive. Now that you understood the recurring revenue models, you understood how the disruption is happening. We want to also talk about how the marketplace happens, what F5 and all these big companies are leveraging the marketplace. Now we are going to go under the hood because Dan and I can talk about the details. But today, Dan, I'm going to be your student as an entrepreneur, and I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to answer that. Sounds good?
Sounds good, Chaitra, and thank you for having me. It's
perfect.
A pleasure to be here, and
Absolutely.
my heart fills with joy to see you.
Same here, same here. So Dan, can you introduce yourself and share what your prediction is going to look like for 2022 when it comes in context of cloud marketplaces?
Sure. So I have over 20 years now in the Microsoft partner ecosystem, and a lot of that time spent on the channel side, building channels primarily for software solutions that augmented or extended the Microsoft platform. But then over the last half dozen or so years, very focused specifically on going to market with and through Microsoft, through the co-sell motion, and more recently through the marketplace.
Awesome. So Dan, we talked about the marketplaces yesterday and today, and we are like we teach all the entrepreneurs in the accelerator why they need to look at this new business model. Tell us how actually it works in the enterprise market. Why should all of us, like including me, should be paying attention to that new change that is happening in the enterprise sector?
Sure. And before I get to that, I forgot to answer your second question, which was my prediction for marketplaces for the year ahead. And I believe that the year ahead is going to see much greater adoption of marketplaces at the enterprise level as a procurement vehicle. And I say that because except for rare exceptions, they are still a relatively new thing, especially where procurement teams may not know if they even have, say, an Azure commitment or an AWS commitment that they can go and buy with. So I think that you're going to see as more and more customers have done one, they'll want to do more.
Sounds good. And Dan, if you know, because of you and Barry and Christine being on the board, we have got 70 entrepreneurs share their offerings on the Microsoft marketplace, right? And we are working with the Googles and the IBMs now so that they are visible. So as companies are thinking about customer acquisition, which is digital customer acquisition, what are the strategies that actually drive transaction in the marketplace? Because right now the marketplace is more of a procurement automation tool. So what are the strategies that we need to be aware of?
So you're right. They very much are today still a procurement vehicle, especially if your solution is an enterprise solution, because the odds of somebody going to marketplace for a multi-tens of thousands of dollar solution or even multi-million-dollar solution in some cases, and clicking get it now and expecting to be able to complete that transaction with the push of a button, that's not the way it works, although get it now buttons are everywhere in marketplace. It's more about making it easy from a transaction perspective for you to sell as a vendor to a large enterprise, particularly in the realm of being a startup or a smaller company. The sheer weight of paperwork that an enterprise can hit you with in terms of a contract and going back and forth on red lines on a contract, or a vendor onboarding process where they're going to vet you, that can extend your sales cycle by months. The beauty of the marketplace is you can do it on a standard Microsoft contract or standard hyperscaler contract. You can have a standard contract with a few customizations to it. You can use your own contract, but it's embedded in the transaction. And so you eliminate a lot of that back and forth on the contract negotiation. And if you have gone through the process of enabling yourself to be transactable, and the customer can pay for your solution with their existing commitment that they've made to Microsoft or AWS or Google, then they don't have to go find new funding to pay for your solution. So you can shorten the budget planning cycle as well. You no longer can you have a customer delay by saying, oh, we want to buy it, but we don't have funds until next quarter or 2 quarters from now. You can say, well, let's talk about your cloud commitment. How much money do you have in your Azure commitment? That will cover my solution and help you burn down your commitment that you've made to spend already anyway. And customers love that because a lot of them get sold on making a $10 or $50 million commitment to spend on Azure, and they're 3 years in or 2 years into a 3-year contract, and they've only burned half of it, and they have to burn the other half or lose it. And you can help them do that. But in terms of finding customers, one of the things that you will find, the more you do in Marketplace, the more rewards, benefits you unlock. And as you do your first, second, third transactions through Marketplace, those rewards get to be really rich, and they help you raise your profile in the Marketplace. Getting Microsoft, for example, to tweet about your solution, or to get them to co-author with you a customer success story and publish that. Those are great ways for you to raise your profile and to find like customers and to grow your pipeline.
Well said, especially the co-authoring, the customer success. But let's get back to the basics, right? The hardest part of it is to get your solution transactable, and all the marketplaces are extremely hard, right? And not many people understand what it takes to publish a solution, right? You need to have content, your pricing, your solution, your integration, all. So talk about what are the hardest things that we need to pay attention as every company needs to build a marketplace strategy. It's not like I just want to go publish a solution. There's a lot of things that needs to happen in the back.
Yeah, so the hardest thing about becoming transactable is that back-end integration with the billing and the fulfillment APIs, because your cloud partner is going to be handling the financials of the transaction for you. They have to be able to have a hook. You have to have a hook into their systems so they know who to take the money from and where to send that money when a transaction goes through. Integrating with those APIs, and whether you build it yourself in-house or whether you outsource it to a third party, like Christine mentioned, Tackle probably being the most famous of the specialists that do this, there is a level of investment there. It's going to cost you $30,000 if you outsource it. It's going to cost you something if you do it in-house. The APIs are well documented. I believe there's even sample code on GitHub that you can use, but it's really that API integration to go and just create the fundamental pieces of a transaction. What does the solution say? What documents do you attach to it? A data sheet, a video, a screenshot. Those are all pretty easy to do in Partner Center or whichever tool you're using, but it's the transaction, it's the API, the development work that's required that gets to be a bit of a challenge.
Well said. And I think we have someone also talk about is, not knowing the basics will actually hurt you. So when you're trying to do is the marketplace listing, there are 2 types of it. One is contact me offer. The second one is transactable offer. And the transactable offer can be anywhere from 3 months to 6 months if you don't know. Otherwise, you will get into the zoo, right? You don't want to get into the zoo. So keep that in mind. There is a lot of work that happens. That's why we take the women through the accelerator so that it can be short-circuited so you can get into the marketplace and be ready for selling. Now comes, because the way the marketplaces are designed today, it's more of a procurement solution, Dan. So what we want to talk about is acquiring the customers and how to use these offers so that they can transact with you. Can you talk about what is the hardest part of acquiring customers in the world that we are living, which is the COVID and the pandemic, right? So what should we all be thinking about?
So yeah, the most difficult part about acquiring customers is, really making them aware that you exist, as especially in a startup mode, and that's where the marketplace can really benefit you in the context of, for example, in the Microsoft realm, when you go through the process of creating your marketplace listing, in parallel or at the same time as you're doing that, you're also able to put in information and assets that populate Microsoft's internal seller catalog. And so what that does is exposes the Microsoft field sales teams to your solution. So if they encounter a customer who's asking about whatever it is your solution does, and Microsoft doesn't have a first-party solution for that, they go searching in their catalog and they find you as a partner who has a solution that meets this requirement. That's one way to help reach your customers. The other way I would say is that promote the fact that you are transactable on your website, in your materials. You can get badges, available on Azure Marketplace, available on Microsoft App Source, and help to build that at the outset of your conversations with customers, because them knowing in advance that, hey, I can buy this with my, through Marketplace, helps to put that at the front of the sales cycle. So it's not something that, oh, by the way, at the end. And then, when you are looking to acquire customers, I would make very heavy use of that co-sell motion, because when you put your solution in the marketplace, you get the co-sell ready tag, or eventually the co-sell incentivized tag, which puts you on the radars of the field sellers. Then what you can do is, a customer comes to you, they find you through Marketplace or through your website. There's a very good chance that Microsoft account team or Google account team, AWS account team has other customers in their portfolio with the exact same problem. And that's where the bi-directional nature of the co-sell motion really starts to shine, because you can say, hey, we have an opportunity at Acme Corp. We know this is a repeatable sales play. Where else in your portfolio do you have customers who are having this same problem? And you can do some account mapping and then proactively identify target candidates that you can go after together to build that pipeline.
Yeah, and you're right, Dan, because all these marketplaces, they actually simplify your procurement engines, but demand gen is your 100% responsibility, right? If you don't drive demand gen for your own product, then no one else will. So the myth is, because you're on a marketplace, it'll sell. It never sells, even on AWS Marketplace or Google or even Microsoft, right? What you need to have is a demand gen plan, which is your go-to-market plan. So let's talk about go-to-market plan. Dan, I know if you put a very good go-to-market plan, you do have the companies invest in the go-to-market plan. Is that true?
Yes. Well, there always is an investment for sure. When it comes to cloud marketplaces and in the co-sell realm, I typically, any place I've been, and I've always worked at small companies, small partners, I'm typically the owner of that aspect of it. There will be at least usually one person in marketing who is, setting up webinars or doing social media or, marketing on LinkedIn. But when it comes to actually layering a level of acceleration around all of that through marketplace presence and through driving the co-sell collaboration, that's typically, that can be a one-person job. It can be a half-person job, half of a person's job, but it has to be a key part of the overall go-to-market plan, and that you're aligned in those contexts.
And I think, Dan, you nailed it. It is that you need to have a resource investment You need to have a strategy, and you also need to have a go-to-market plan, right? Once you have that, then listing on a solution in the marketplace, then you can drive the demand gen. But without the person managing that process, it's not going to work out on its own. It cannot be magical by itself. So said that, I would like you to talk about some tangible steps the companies can take to embark on this journey. Do you have like a methodology that we should be following?
I do. So obviously, since we're talking about marketplaces, you very much do want to list your solution in marketplace. If you're not prepared yet to make an investment in becoming transactable, it's perfectly fine to start with a contact me listing. You can probably build a contact me listing in half a day. It's not very difficult. I mean, I'm not technical myself. I can do it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But get started at least by having a listing there. And the reason why I say that is you don't need to be transactable to be co-sell ready. And you can start to build your visibility inside Microsoft and make Microsoft sellers aware that you exist and what you do and why they should engage with you. The next aspect of it, I would say, is once you have your solution in marketplace, you've gone through the co-sell ready boxes to tick, then be transparent with your pipeline. If you have even just one opportunity that you're pursuing with a customer, or if you have 100 opportunities in your pipeline, put every single one of your qualified opportunities into Partner Center. And the reason why I say that is when you put your opportunities into Partner Center and you check the box that says, yes, I want help from Microsoft for this, the Partner Center will go off and automatically match you with the Microsoft seller who's attached to that account. And then what you can do is you have their email address now, their phone number now, because they've done that matching. You can go to that person and say, hello, thank you for accepting my co-sell referral. This is what I'm trying to solve for this customer. Could we have a short call to talk about how we win this together? And then you can get insights from that seller as to how do you win this deal? What other projects do they have going on? And how can they help you, whether it's to raise your visibility or endorse you to the customer? And then you can say, oh, by the way, do you have other customers who are having this problem? Where can we go co-sell together? So be transparent, and then communicate throughout the sales process. If you get into a blocker, go back to them and say, I have a blocker now. Can you help me overcome it? And that may even be requiring funding. I need some Microsoft funding or Azure fund or AWS funding to go help win this deal. And they may have access to funding they can help you with. Once you've won the deal, implement what I call the go back strategy. And whether you got a whole lot of help from that field seller or whether you got zero help from that field seller, go back to them and say, hey, we just won this opportunity. I just registered the win. It's going to appear as a co-sell win in your dashboard very shortly. Thank you for all your support. And here's the success criteria. Contract value is this. Consumption is going to be this. Now, where else can we go win together? Because once you've proven yourself a winner, then the magic really starts to happen in terms of love and affection coming back at you from the field.
Very well said, Dan. So here is, as a student of yours today, here is what I learned. To be fearless, that was one. The process that is very simple. It'll take you 2 to 3 weeks, up to 6 weeks, but list a solution. You can start with contact me offer. Make sure your solution is co-sell ready, status is accomplished. Be transparent with the pipeline, at least put 1 or 2 or 3 pipeline items, because as an entrepreneur, you should have a pipeline. So you should go share it. And then engage the seller to kind of get their input and start doing. And start with small bits instead of a big bits till you can actually accomplish the win. And then do is a go back strategy, maybe with a case study, and make things happen. Did I get it right, Dan?
You did indeed. And I freely acknowledge that although I've spent my entire career in the Microsoft realm, Partner Center in itself can be daunting. And so there are so many places to go to do things that it can be overwhelming. And so my offer to the community here, or I guess maybe my plea or my pledge, because I live this all day, every day, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a message when we connect on LinkedIn. If you have a question, how do I, or where do I, or who do I talk to? Think of me as somebody who can help you, and I will happily get on a call with you and take you through whatever it is that has you blocked or that you can't find.
So Dan, I have a better offer. Instead of doing like people hitting, like 70 people hitting you, we'll actually host as a working session with all the entrepreneurs. Is that something you will be open? If say yes or +1 in the chat, so we know that there is an interest for it.
I'm +1. I'll do it.
But, me too. I'll hang out. Excellent. Right. So that said, Dan, I want to ask questions to the audience. Did you take, were there any takeaways today for you? And what is the next, what is the action you will take? Any takeaways or any questions you have so that I can moderate with Dan? I got all the answers, but if there is any question, I would like to moderate for you. Or raise your hand, I'll bring you on the stage.
And the most important thing to keep in mind is that it may not be easy, but it is simple. Microsoft, all the cloud hyperscalers, they all want you to succeed because you're driving consumption for them. Microsoft in particular, I mean, they invest heavily in your success. They want to invest in your success. You just have to be persistent and know where to look and where to go to unlock all the value that they are ready to give to you in terms of bringing your solution to market and helping you win.
Absolutely. So Dan, there's a couple of questions for you. Can you tell us a little more about the timing of the Microsoft fiscal year?
Yes. So we just entered Microsoft's H2, second half of their fiscal year. They run on a July 1st to June 30th fiscal year. And so that matters a little bit less than it used to now that we're mainly in a recurring revenue realm. It used to be completely unheard of for a Microsoft seller to take off over the Christmas holidays, but now they're very rarely in the office because it's all about the commitments are already been made. But it is important to note that as we near the end of H2, there will be a big push. How would I put it? The power shifts to us as partners towards the end of the fiscal year because every seller is scrambling to hit their quota for co-sell wins, hit their quota for consumption. And if you have pipeline that you share with Microsoft, you're going to get a lot of their attention if there's any chance of them helping you to pull deals into the tail end of H2 or the tail end of Q4. And then beware that when they enter the new fiscal year in July, starting with Microsoft Inspire, that's where Microsoft tells us as partners how to go make money in the year ahead. What are the priority scenarios that we as partners need to care about? And when you hear that, be prepared to adjust your co-sell playbook, your co-sell story accordingly so that you're always aligned with the things that Microsoft and the Microsoft field sellers care about.
Awesome, Dan. I think you answered all the questions around the marketplace under the hood, right? Because there's so much complexity. People can hear like there's amazing opportunity from access to customers, and you have an engine, but you need to know how to use the engine, and we're trying to make it simpler and simpler. So here is a couple of announcements for all of you. The first one is the Cloud Accelerator, which is a co-sell Cloud Accelerator, is going to launch, which is the cohort number 7, is going to be launching in Feb. So if any one of you are interested, please apply, because the entrepreneurs who go through it, they actually do this work over the period of 6 months. And we actually ensure that there is an enterprise strategy, there's a marketplace strategy, and also customer demand gen strategy. All are connected, and you have exclusive access to all the advisors like Dan to help us with that. The second thing is there's also co-sell demand generation series, which is around how do you really drive digital demand to the offers in the marketplace. So we have a couple of sessions that we will be doing. So please sign up for that if there is an interest for all of you. The third is, if you want to meet any one of them, reach out to them through the Get Introduced. So we will make the warm introduction, or you can reach out to them on LinkedIn. If they take the meeting, great. If they don't, come to us and we will facilitate those conversations. Again, thank you so much, Dan, for being here. And you were fabulous. And I can spend hours with you and learning from you. And maybe we'll do some workshop style in the partner center and learn together. Again,
Yes.
thanks for being here.
Thank you. I look forward to that. And thank you everybody for your time today.
Awesome. And now I will hand over the baton to Patty, and my work is done for today. And now we will all talk about access to capital and how do we drive access to capital to build your cloud solution. So Patty, you can take it from here.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Chai.